Dear viewers, in the last month, April 2022, where there are a lot of positives about LIC IPO, I have clearly mentioned the negative points about LIC IPOs, and I have mentioned that the market will correct or market will crash due to this LIC IPO. Exactly same happened. If you want proof, obviously there's an old video. The link is given in the description box. You can check that old video after watching this video, or in fact the link is given also here. Now in this video, if you have already invested in LIC IPO, what you should do now: buy, sell or hold, that you'll get to know. Not only that, at the end of this video I'll share the short-term market outlook. I mean, after this market corrections over the next few months, how the market can behave, that you get to know. So if you watch this video till end, I am sure you will get a lot of insights. I am Prosenjit Paul, author of the best-selling book How to Avoid Loss and Earn Consistently in the Stock Market, which is still the highest rated book written by any Indian investors in the stock market. Also, I am investing in the stock market since 2010 and achieved financial freedom from here only. The major drawback of LIC was that the slowdown in new policy growth rate, which the company admitted in the DRHP report. See, stock market always prefers growth. Stock market reward growing companies. Now in case of LIC, once upon a time LIC was synonymous to insurance. Many people used to ask, do you have LIC? Whereas they intended to ask, do you have an insurance policy or not? But after that, now there are a lot of private players in the market. Many are offering better service, many are offering better rates compared to the LIC. Still, LIC is the largest insurance provider in India, but despite that, the new policy growth rate is slowing down since the last few years, which, as I have mentioned, the stock market prefers growing company. The stock market always pay premium for high growth, but as in LIC this is not the case. So this is why you can see even after the listing, the stock listed at the discount compared to its issue price. So the first concern will remain, and I don't think that this will reverse very soon, because nowadays with a lot of new age internet companies, be it HDFC, ICICI, Max Life Insurance, and lot of influencers are also promoting, also sharing educational video of insurance and lot. So tech savvy investors, so mainly the youths, are preferring shifting towards the private companies. So I don't think that the slowdown in the new policy growth rate can reverse very soon for LIC. So this concern will remain as it is. The second big problem of LIC is the PSU tag. If you check the history of Indian stock market, you will notice that there are not enough PSU companies that rewarded shareholders over a long run. Out of 10 PSU companies, government-owned companies, 8 maximum 80% companies generated, destroyed wealth for shareholders. Maybe 1 or 2 companies rewarded investors. A good example, Coal India. Once upon a time back in 2013, while Coal India was listed, Coal India was also a monopoly. Coal India was also a great company. But if you look at the last many years, last 6-7 years price performance, you will find Coal India as well destroyed investors' wealth. Same with a lot of other PSU companies. So this stock market now don't like that PSU tax. Mainly PSU companies are here to serve the Indians, to serve the Indian populations. The target of PSU companies is not to maximize profit, whereas the target of any private owned companies is to maximize profit, to create wealth for their investors, whereas PSU company works for Indians. So I'll always prefer to be a, if you give me a choice, you must have to choose one, either a policy holder of LIC or investor of LIC. I'll still choose to become a policy holder of LIC, but not investors. That applicable for any PSU companies, for any PSU companies. If you give me an option to be a customer of the company or to investors, so I can still choose to be a customer of that company instead of being an investor. So that concern will also remain, that PSU tag. The only saving grace for LIC IPO was the reasonable valuation. See, Government of India earlier planned to, they intended to sell the shares at a lot higher valuation, but back in April 2022, when the government also realized that the market is not that much supportive, so they decided the pricing of LIC IPO, and instead of 5%, they offloaded 3% of approx 3% of their stake. So due to this reasonable pricing, I don't think that the stock can crash a lot from here, as it happened in the Paytm IPO. So many investors invested in Paytm at around 2000 level, but now it is traded at only 500 kind of level. So the saving grace is this: due just because of this reasonable valuation, I don't think that the price can crash similarly like Paytm, but it at the same time, I don't think it can also hugely reward the investors. So all those invested in the IPO, most probably maximum of investors are in little loss. Few might exit at around the cost price, mainly the policyholder, because the government also offered good discount to the policyholders and to the retail shareholders. So if you are still holding LIC shares, I don't prefer to keep a huge expectation from the same, but at the same time, saving grace is this: like, I don't think from here on the LIC price will crash a lot, just what happened in Paytm. Because even if you compare this insurance company like HDFC Life Insurance, SBI Life Insurance, LIC's valuation is still cheaper compared to the HDFC Life Insurance. Despite that, LIC listed at a discount to its issue price, whereas if you check at the HDFC Life Insurance, you can find from the listing price as well, HDFC Life Insurance still generated wealth for their investors. Here, one key takeaway from this entire LIC thing, or be from Paytm IPO, is that never ever get emotionally attached with any company. Never ever take investment decision based on emotion. I know many investors shared that as they are an agent of LIC, so as they are earning, they're lifelong they are earning from LIC. Many agents, LIC is still the highest number of agents across the country. I know many families are completely entirely dependent on the LIC itself. So just because of that, it won't make sense to invest on that particular share. For example, if you just take an example like in Yes Bank, I am holding an Yes Bank account since 2011 or something like this. So since the last 10-12 years. So it doesn't mean that I should also continue to hold Yes Bank shares since the last 10-12 years. Back in 2013 or 14, I had invested in Yes Bank, then I had exited back in 2015 to 16 or something like that. And back in 2018 or 19, if someone forced me to invest at Yes Bank even at ₹5, I'd still avoid, because financials, a lot of things, fundamentals changed. So just because you are using a particular company, just because you are an employee of a particular company since long, it doesn't necessarily mean you should invest your lifelong savings on that particular company. Thus, emotions shouldn't come into your investment decision. So overall, if you had invested in LIC IPO, I'd suggest it would be still better to exit around the cost price. Personally, I owned LIC shares over long run because I still believe that there are a lot of better opportunities available across the market. Lot of shares are available that can offer better return compared to the LIC over the long run, maybe 1 year, 2 year. But at the same time, the saving grace is I don't think that the price of LIC will crash similar like the Paytm. So I don't think from 950 or 900 level the price can go below to 200, 300 kind of that. So now let's talk about the market outlook over the near term. See, as I had mentioned earlier, also in earlier videos I had mentioned, like back in 2021 it was easier. We had in a great bull run, so it was easier for stock picking. So out of, even if you randomly choose 10 stocks, out of this 10, 6, 7s ended up with the profit. But this time 2022 will be a difficult year, will be a different year, because across the globe, across the world, lot of raw material prices, lot of things, there's an inflation across the world, not only India specific things, but across the world. So you have to be very selective in this point of time. The companies, those can pass on their input cost to their end users, they only, in other words, the companies, those can protect margin, can only reward shareholders in this year 2022. So you have to be very selective on stocks. You shouldn't be having an aggressive buyer. It's not like that if you choose randomly 5, 7 or 10 companies, most of them will reward. So it's not like that. Rather, most of the companies will disappoint investors in 2022. If you want to know what are the companies that I am buying or selling in my personal portfolio, we have a service called Follow My Portfolio. Details of the link is available here. Since the last many years, the portfolio is doing relatively well. So despite the market crash in April, despite the market crash in May, my portfolio didn't crash a lot. So if you are interested, you can check out the link and you check out the service. Now you can share your views about the market, or if you had invested in LIC IPO, you can also share your views. You can also share what kind of videos you are expecting from me on the coming days, so that will help me a lot. And finally, if you want to receive similar insightful video on the coming days, make sure to subscribe the channel and press on the bell notification. That's it as on today. I'll come with another insightful video on coming days. Till then, happy investing.